Alright guys, so we just got some great news. Apparently Capcom is releasing Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 onto current gen consoles, that being PS4 and Xbox One. And I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am for this, because the main reason that I never wanted to give up my PS4 or my PS3, the main reason I never wanted to give up my PS3 was because I didn't want to give up, Resident Evil 5 and 6. Like, I was playing Resident Evil 5 on my channel on a PC, but it wasn't the best PC. Like, it's a really old one, so it was barely keeping up, and I was having to reduce, like, I was getting really bad frame drops. So for all 3 of these games to be getting released this year alone on the PS4 and Xbox One consoles is absolutely probably the best news, the best gaming news, in my opinion, that I've gotten all year. Now, for those of you who might not know or might not watch my walkthroughs, these games 4, 5, and 6 have got to be my favorites in the series that have ever been made, period. I think if I had to rank them in order, it would be, it's kind of the backwards order. So my top favorite Resident Evil game of all time is probably 6. 6 is one of those games that a lot of people like, a lot of people don't. Some people hate on the game just because the internet told them to. Some people hate on the game just because, what's one reason they hate on the game? They hate on the game because I guess that they just don't like the way the series is going. That's fine, because there's a lot of people who do love the direction that the series is taking. Like me, for example. If I recall correctly, the first Resident Evil game that came out that I actually liked and paid any attention to was 4. I remember I was a kid, and it was also the first Game Informer that I'd ever gotten that was specifically for me. And Resident Evil 4 was on the cover, and at the time, I'd heard of Resident Evil before, and I tried it, and I did not fucking like it. I didn't like the way it controlled. I didn't like the way the save system worked. I didn't like that there were no checkpoints. There was just a whole bunch of things that really got on my nerves. But yeah, I think it was like 2003 when the Game Informer with Resident Evil 4 came on. I mean, like, when it got released. And I was looking at it, and I thought it looked great. And just at the time, Resident Evil 4, the only reason that third-person shooters play the way they do today is because of what Resident Evil 4 did. And at the time, I didn't know how big the game was going to be. It just looked like any other game to me at the time. Like, there was a dude on the cover with a cool jacket, and it was like, wee, that's nice. But, yeah. So, eventually it was getting more and more coverage. And I was like, you know what, this game it's starting to look amazing to me. And, yeah, so it got released. And I was one of the first people to have it on GameCube. And it was so weird because I believe when it came out on GameCube, they were like, oh, this is going to be a GameCube exclusive. And then it ended up coming out. It ended up getting, I believe it was, they made an announcement that it was getting released for the PS2 shortly thereafter. So everyone was like, what the fuck, I just went out and got a GameCube for this game. And people on PS2 were like, hell yeah, we're about to, we didn't have to buy a GameCube, blah, 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 blah. And it was just a great game overall. And then, I believe it was like 2009 when Resident Evil 5 was coming out. I think I was in middle school. No, Resident Evil 5 came out when I was in 8th grade, I believe, because it was like 2009. And at the time, it was competing with Dead Space. Like they were about to get released. Or I think Dead Space might have got released first. Yeah. Basically what had happened was Dead Space had got released. Everybody was like, oh my god, this is so fucking awesome. And then Resident Evil 5 was about to get released, and they were going to compete with each other. And it got released, and I think what really held Resident Evil, like, it's still one of the best games they've ever made, and it's one of the highest selling games they've ever made. I take that back. It is the highest selling game they've ever made. I think it's like 9.5 million copies, something like that. Whereas Resident Evil 4 has like half of that. And then Resident Evil 6 has half of that. But altogether, all three of them are their highest selling games ever made. But where was I at? Oh yeah. I think what held Resident Evil 5 back from being better than Dead Space, in my opinion, was the fact that you couldn't move while aiming. Like, it was still doing that classic Resident Evil thing where you couldn't shoot and aim you couldn't move and shoot at the same time. And a lot of people got the game after playing Dead Space where you could do all of that, and they were like, what the fuck? And I think after that, Resident Evil Revelations, it came out, but it was like a DS exclusive, and it was, no. Resident Evil 6, I can't remember which came out first, Resident Evil 6, or Resident Evil Revelations, but I remembered one of these games was the first one that allowed you to move while aiming, and it was something that everybody had been wanting for the longest time, and I just thought it was fantastic. Resident Evil 6 came out, and it ended up being my favorite for several reasons. One of which is that while it's safe to say that the horror was dead by that point, I never really thought of Resident Evil as a horror series in general. Like, I get it was part of that genre, and it was one of the pioneers of said genre, but I never thought of it as, like, a good game in that genre. A good game in that genre is probably stuff like Silent Hill, Obscure. I played Obscure on my channel, by the way, if you want to take a look at that. Yeah, those kinds of games where the controls aren't absolutely horrible, but, like, it still has that, fixed camera angle vibe, and while there's no checkpoints in those games either, if I'm correct, the original Silent Hills at least, they basically made these games in a way to where, it wasn't like, oh, you die and you gotta lose like a whole bunch of progress or whatever. And Resident Evil had that issue, and that's probably why I never enjoyed it. Like, I played them and I was like, okay, they're not as bad as I made them out to be when I was a kid, but they still aren't very good games in my opinion. At least, well, I'll take that back. Because, I mean, yeah, if you take them for what they are, yeah, they're pretty good games, but in my opinion, they're nowhere near on the level that 4 through 6 are in terms of, like, gameplay and refinement and all that type of things. And 6 is my favorite of 4 through 6 because it was everything I'd always wanted Resident Evil to be since I played 4. I remember I was playing 4 and it was things like, man, I just want to be able to hit people when I want to. I just want to be able to, do the melees when I want to. and 6 allowed you to do that. And I was thinking things like, man, I want to be able to dodge some of these attacks or counter them when I want to. And 6 allowed you to do all that. Not to mention 6 was probably long. 6 is, each campaign in 6, besides Ada's, I think, is about as long as 5 is. And 6 was just, there was so much content in 6. And it was just, like, that's probably why I never did it on my channel. I'm going to do it on my channel now, because I know it's getting released. But, the reason I never did 6 on my channel is because just of how big that game is. And don't get me wrong, 6 isn't a perfect game. None of the games are perfect. But 6 is by far the best Resident Evil I think I've ever played. And I've played them all. But, yeah, so Capcom, I guess, released this trailer. I'll link it in the description. And I think for some odd reason, 6 is releasing first, then 5, then 4. And they've already announced that they're doing Resident Evil 2 remake. So what this either means, like, there's no way they're just doing this in this order just because. What this means to me, or what this probably means, is that they're either about to show us some solid footage of the Resident Evil 2 remake, and they're just kind of getting people, to get in that, back in time mindset by playing 6, then 5, then 4. Or what this means is they have a prequel that they're about to announce. And it's either one of the two. I doubt they're stupid enough to just release 6, then 5, then 4. But I could be wrong. I mean, you never know. But yeah, that's basically what that tells me. And honestly, I cannot wait to play these games. And I think what I'm going to do is, I already did a walkthrough for 4. I already did a walkthrough for 5. But what I'm going to do is, because I did the walkthrough for 4 when I was first starting out on YouTube, and the quality was bad. It just it wasn't feeling like, I don't like the way I did my walkthrough for 4. So what I'm gonna do is, when 4 gets released, I'm gonna keep the walkthrough that I originally did up on the channel, but I'm going to, I guess you could say it's a remake or a remaster of that walkthrough, where I do a completely new walkthrough that I'll probably be more proud of. And with 5, I'm hoping to, since, I doubt that, I like the way 5 went. So what I'm going to do for that is, I'm hoping to get a co-op partner or something. If any of you guys want to play with me, I guess, or if you, know any YouTubers that would be interested in something like that, or just anybody out there, just hit me up at either my Facebook page, my Twitter page, or, the YouTube messenger. It really doesn't matter to me. But, yeah, so I really want to do a co-op walkthrough for 5. And all of these games are going to come with the content, so you can do the main campaign, then the, the DLC, and then with 6, hopefully I can get a co-op partner for that. But even if I don't, since I haven't done 6 on the channel, I'm going to do it anyway, even if it's solo. But, now as far as these remasters go, why did I say remaster? As far as these releases go, I don't know if they're remasters, if they're going to update the graphics, or if it's just a straight, basic port, just here you go, here's the games on the systems. But even if it's just that, I'm just excited to have these games on these systems in general. And I really can't wait to play them. Yeah. Especially 6. I'm really excited to play 6. I think it's a damn good game to me. I think the only things I disliked about 6 were the QuickTime events. And it's not that they're there. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my god, I have to press a button on the screen. Wah. But it's not that they're there. It's that they fly by so quick. Like, they're not your basic QuickTime events like they are in other games. And like they used to be. In 6, it's like this little bar that whizzes by really quick. And if you haven't pressed it by then, it's pretty much you're gonna take some heavy damage. And it was that was my complaint with 6, and that 6 was the point where the costumes that aren't from the campaigns, the unlockable costumes started to get pretty fucking ridiculous and stupid. Like, I think there was a pirate Leon, then there was a samurai Chris, and it was just like, what the hell? Like, just give me, like, what I wanted 6 to do as far as unlockables was, like, give me throwback outfits, you know? Like, give me Chris's Stars outfit, give me his Resident Evil 6 outfit, with Leon, you know, give me his RPD outfit, you know, give me his Resident Evil 4 outfit. Those are the kind of outfits that Capcom should be thinking about. And I think when it comes to, like, I can't call them money hungry because of the amount of content that we got with 6, but while each game kind of, you know, jams the campaigns full of content, I think what really brought 6 down was the fact that there were only 3 mercenaries maps, if I'm correct, if you didn't purchase the other ones, whereas 5 had, like, there were so many maps in 5. Like, if I had to choose between 5 and 6 when it came to mercenary mode, while 6's gameplay is probably the best in the series, 5 has just had so much better. A much better mercenaries mode. But, yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about my opinions on 4 through 5 and how excited I am that they're getting released for the current gen consoles. I will be doing walkthroughs for each of these games. If I can get a co-op partner for 5, I'll do another walkthrough for that. But as far as 6 goes, yeah, that's gonna be the main one I'm guaranteed to do. I have no other choice. I have to do this game just because I'm so excited for it. And with 4, I'm gonna redo it anyway, but with 4, I'm hoping that it's like the PC, what was it, the Ultimate HD version that came out on PC like 2 years ago, where it was like, they'd refine the controls to where you could aim with the right stick. I'm really hoping it's not just a straight port like it was from PS3, but like, they've refined the controls to where you can... I'm hearing all these games are going to be at 60 frames per second. I really don't care about that. What I care about is, just that I can aim with the right stick in 4. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I don't know. This was just a little ramble video about what I think about each game. And that I'm really excited that they're doing this. And this is obvious. This has to be it's a nod to something. They're about to drop something huge on us. And I'm really excited to see what it is. So I'll catch you guys later.